Today we're starting a series of videos on creating a C# window application from a C# console application, or a DOS box. And it's the first in a series of videos I'm calling ConWin. And as the series progresses, we'll look at adding controls to the window and adding events to the window so the user can interact with the controls. And finally, we'll be looking at adding threads and delegates for asynchronous processing in the window. And in the first video, we're just going to look at how to create a window from a DOS application, the first step, so to speak, so we don't get too overwhelmed. Well, the first thing to do is to bring up a DOS box. So I have an icon that does that. And I've done quite a few videos on DOS boxes and the console applications, so if I fly over some stuff here, you might go back and look at those, try and understand them. But I'll go to the directory that I have the code in, and if I do a dir of this, there's only one file, conwin.cs. So we can highlight that file and press enter, and then do npp for notebook++, and then do right mouse click, and the right mouse click copies from the clipboard and the enter copies into the clipboard. And then when I press enter, we see the code, and we need three using system, which is sort of the mother of all the namespaces, using system.drawing, which we need especially for the size and point classes, which are used extensively when you're creating the window, and using system.windows.forms, which is the most important one in a way, because the whole trick is to derive a class from the form class. And once you derive a class from the form class and then instantiate that class, it's going to create a window. So we have a class of that type derived from form. And if we go down to where you first start with the static void main, which is defined as the entry point of a console application, you see we take the class and instantiate an object called myWindow on that class using the standard technique. And then we say myWindow.showDialog to actually bring the window up. And within the constructor of the class, we can set all kinds of characteristics of the window and add controls and events and a number of other things. But initially, all we're doing is setting the client size to a new size, which is the size class I mentioned from drawing namespace. And it's 600 pixels wide and 400 pixels high. And then we're putting the text in the top of the window into the text property. And the way you can get all these properties is you can just go into the IDE and click on the form and look at the properties window, and it'll list all these properties that you can add characteristics to. Like I could go to the text property and add this title in the IDE the same way we're doing it here in the console app. Well, let's close this out and then come back to our DOS box and do a CSC for C# compiler, and then I'll right click again to put the name of the file, and that compiles it. And then in order to run it, I can just right click and get rid of the .cs, and that'll be the exe file, and press enter, and you can see the window comes up. It's the size we specified, 600 by 400, and it has the title window from console application we put in the text property. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and learned a lot. And come back for the second tutorial where I'll start adding controls to the window. Don't forget to subscribe.